But Brooks was over there in Bozeman, live and in person, to watch and take in the Bobcats. And he had a ton of feedback for me and for us, so we'll get to all of that. The number one storyline I think broadly that people are gravitating toward is obviously the new coaching staff, particularly with a new head coach in Brent Vigen, a new offensive coordinator in Taylor Housewright, and a new defensive coordinator in Freddie Banks. Freddie Banks will join us here in just a minute. Not live, it's a couple pieces of audio from his media day appearance a couple weeks back. I guess last week. Gosh, time's flying by. It was only a week ago. I was in Bozeman, wild. But regardless, everybody wants to know life after Jeff Choate. How does it go on? Will it move on? Will the Bobcats be as impassioned and fiery and physical as they have been for the last 5 years? I understand why that's a primary storyline. Quarterbacks is always going to be a primary storyline this time of year, everywhere you're at, but particularly at Montana State, since they have struggled so mightily at the quarterback position since Dakota Prukop graduate transferred following the 2015 season. But to me, the biggest storyline, or at least my biggest piece of analysis for this Bobcat squad, is sort of breaking down and diagnosing the different defensive scheme change. And broadly, when the coaching staff came in, when Freddie Banks first announced that he was the DC and he sort of started laying out his philosophies at large, he talked about how they were moving from a three-man front, which what Jeff Choate was famous for, to a four-man front, a more traditional defense. So I was thinking they were just going to shift to a 4-3, and this meant some different position changes for a bunch of different premier players. Start on the front line. Chase Benson, best nose tackle in the league. He's going to have to play more of a traditional defensive tackle if they're running a traditional 4-3. Amandre Williams, one of the best bucks, one of the best outside linebacker, stand-up defensive end type hybrids in the Big Sky Conference. He was going to have to move to defensive end, more traditional defensive end. Daniel Hardy, one of the most athletic Sam linebackers in the league. He was going to have to move to defensive end as well. Troy Anderson, who was playing Sam last year, moving in from first to Will linebacker, now Mike linebacker. I was envisioning all of this in a more traditional 4-3 scheme. Well, now my brother was there to diagnose what they're doing. And I'm not here to give away all the scheme tricks and nuances and all that, but my brother has a very sophisticated defensive mind. He played college football for 3 years here at the University of Montana, and he's really good at seeing the stuff pretty darn fluidly and also at explaining it very well. Well, Freddie Banks, who you'll hear from in just a minute, but he has talked now about how this is going to be much more of a 4-2-5 defense. They're going to play a nickel on the field a lot. Montana State actually played a big safety look, a 3-safety look, pretty prevalently down the stretch in 2019. Sometimes they would have Anderson on the field as sort of an edge guy, but when he wasn't on the field, oftentimes they would have either JoJo Henderson or Ty Okada in as a sort of rover third safety spot. Well, now they're going to play basically two corners on an island, a nickel, and that nickel could be somebody like Tyrell Thomas, who's kind of your beat you up in the slot type guy, can also play in the box. Also could bump out to outside corner if he's playing, if he has an advantageous or a necessary matchup that they want him to cover a specific receiver. But then you could put Ty Okada there. He's played nickel before in his career. He's also familiar with that sort of nickel rover hybrid spot, playing in the box, playing over the top of the slot. He's a good tackler. He's a willing tackler. Or you could play a big nickel there. And the big nickel in this defense is going to be Taden Gilman. Taden Gilman's a guy that's sort of gotten lost in the shuffle. He was an outstanding player at Kalispell Glacier, the son of Mark Gilman, who most famously played for the Nebraska Cornhuskers back in their heyday during the Tom Osborne era. And Gilman, he can run well. He's a good tackler, but he's had a hard time sort of finding a position at linebacker and then breaking into the rotation. Well, I actually kind of like him at big nickel because I do think he can support in the box. He can run pretty well. He's a good tackler in space. I don't know if I necessarily love him being matched up on a slot all the time, but they're not going to do that. It's going to be personnel-based. So this all brings me to say that I was very skeptical about Amandre Williams playing a true DN. But if it's more of this flex system, I think they'll play him at multiple different techniques, whether it's a 5-eye or a wide 9. He's going to move up and down the line. He might even stand him up at some point. They've had good returns on Daniel Hardy as well. He has put on a ton of weight. I think he's put on 15 to 20 pounds. He looks the part. He's been in a lot of their social media videos out of Montana State. And I think that adjustment is going to go pretty okay as well. And now that I'm sort of envisioning what they are sort of wanting to build, their vision for this defense, this coaching staff's vision for this defense, I'm sort of starting to get it. They want as much speed on the field as possible. It's going to be a gap scheme type defense, not necessarily a filter it to your big dogs type defense that we've become so accustomed to at both Montana schools. the last couple of years. No matter what the defense was in the early 2010s for the Bobcats, or even for the last 8 to 10 years, there's been a lot of different defensive coordinators, a lot of different defensive philosophies. But broadly, most of the schemes are built for some guys to sacrifice, some guys to set the edge or spill. And I know we're getting into a lot of football jargon now, but it's to set up the main tacklers. Montana's defense the last couple of years is a prime example of that. You want to cause chaos and wreckage on the front line. You want to part the seas, and then a couple guys are the ones making all the tackles. It's either Dante Olson, who's filling the strong side gaps in the last couple of years. Jace Lewis gets the cutbacks, and then Robbie Houck is the final line of defense. And that's why I think you saw all three of those guys have more tackles in a single season in the same season, 2019, than anybody in the history of the University of Montana. I know there's a lot of skepticism. Stats and tackles are kept different in every school. I get sort of that scuttle to a certain extent, but also the reason Robbie Houck, Jace Lewis, and Dante Olson all had 130-plus tackles is because of the scheme more than anything. Statistical keeping aside, they all would have been, regardless of their stacking tackle stats in Montana or not, they all would have been 100-plus tackle guys no matter what because of the scheme. So oftentimes, schemes are designed to put your best players in the position to make plays. This gap scheme is going to take a lot of the North Dakota State former philosophies. Also, this is going to be kind of similar to what Montana was running back in the 2000s. Not necessarily in alignment or personnel, but just in identity. Everybody do their job. Everybody do their 111th, and let's get this thing done. So I'm so interested to see. When I first initially thought it was Troy Anderson playing a true Mike linebacker, lining up over the center in a 4-3 defense, I thought, man, he is an outstanding athlete. He can do anything and everything on a football field well, but that would be one of the worst things that he could do just in terms of accentuating his talents. Getting caught in traffic, getting caught in a place where he can get squished by multiple guards or get caught up in the flow of the traffic and the collisions where teams can isolate him or run away from him or lead block against him or whatever. None of those things were going to accentuate his best strengths, which are his ability in open space, his ability to chase down ball carriers, his ability to use his unparalleled and basically peerless speed. Now that I'm kind of getting a vision of what they're doing and I had my brother explain it to me, it makes a lot more sense to me. Brooks basically said this is like a 4-2-4-1 defense. So you basically have the 4 down linemen. You have 2 inside linebackers that are roaming around. They have pretty big parts of the field to cover. That's why you need guys with speed. Then you have the 4 DBs, including 1 safety who's basically playing up in the box, kind of like a rover, or a nickel guy. And then you have the 1 high free safety, and that's going to probably be Jeffrey Manning, the Oregon State transfer. So all of that is to say that I think that it's starting to come, at least in my mind, to make more sense for me what Montana State wants to do defensively. Here's a couple thoughts from Freddie Banks, Montana State's defensive coordinator, on what he wants to do defensively. You're listening to Nuanez now, 102.9 ESPN Missoula, or maybe you're watching in statewide television, SWX Montana TV. I'm Colter Nuanez, talking all things Bobcat football right now. The camp's raging on the other side of the Great Divide as well, and my brother Brooks was there. So some feedback from that. But here's Freddie Banks, Montana State's defensive coordinator. Just a couple general thoughts on MSU's defense thus far.
Well, they got, I think like 3 quarterbacks that are mobile. The O-line is really physical every day. So it's a good battle every day for sure. I think we got one of the better running backs in the league, and we got depth behind them. Our receivers are really talented. We challenge and we compete every single day at DB. It's no secret that we plan on being aggressive in the secondary, and we play that way in practice. Everybody else in the country is going to see this video, and all you do is look at past film. We're going to line up in front of you, and our receivers take that challenge on every day, and we win some, we lose some, and we like to see the receivers make plays when we don't do our job, and you like to see DBs make plays when we do a good job. So it's a good combination. I think when you just look at, you don't come to Montana State in Bozeman, Montana, and say we're going to have this air raid offense and or a defense that's going to be soft. We actually just had a meeting with the defense, and we talked about being physical, the most physical defense in the conference, which will put us at the top in the country, being physical. And not just doing it for one play, but doing it for 60 minutes every single time we take the field. we talk about practicing that way. So I think when you cut on the film, I don't know exactly what will happen through every single game, but I got a feeling when you cut on the film September 4th and every game after that, you'll say Montana State football is a tough football program.
So there you go. The leading question was actually about the offense that he's been going against and how they want to have a physical identity, how that is going to help Montana State's defense. MSU defensive coordinator Freddie Banks joining us here on Nuanez now. A couple sound bites from him. Next, Troy Anderson, guy that needs no introduction, a Dillon, Montana native, an All-American at multiple positions during his time at MSU, and now, all of a sudden, he's a senior, and he's playing a new position again. If there's anybody that can do it, it's him. I like what I'm hearing in terms of the new Mike linebacker, so to speak. It's not a traditional Mike. He's going to be playing way more in space and sort of a roaming around the middle of Montana State's defense, and I like that, so he can use his speed. Freddie Banks on Troy Anderson here on Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Missoula.
Troy's going to play Mike linebacker for us, which is the center of our defense. He's going to communicate. He's the leader. You're going to see his big self standing right there in the middle every play and making all the checks. So, I think Troy can be really dynamic. We all know Troy Anderson, the athlete, but you'll see him not playing between receivers now. He'll be in the box a little bit more, which I think will help him in his future. But you'll see him making a lot of plays and really in the center of our defense, running sideline to sideline.
Can you talk about that dynamic, his now and his future? Because he seems like he has a future ahead of him in football if he wants it. But kind of balancing those two things, because sometimes he's so good in space, but this is going to be his first time playing in the box. So how do you sort of balance his development within the scope of what you need from him on defense?
Which is what we do in general. We want more athletes on the field as much as we can get. And Troy's really good at playing in space, but we put another guy out there that's good at playing in space, and now we're even faster on defense. And we got our best leader on defense making all the checks and really being the focal point of how we operate on defense. He's going to be closing the defense. He's going to be making sure we're on point, and that's him. I mean, he's Bobcat through and through. I mean, what better Mike? I don't think I'll ever have a better Mike. Just the person and the athlete, and it's going to be rare that you have that combination in my career, so I'm going to take full advantage of it.
It's so interesting when you have new coaches that inherit players, quote-unquote inherit players, that they didn't recruit, but they realize instantly how special that they are. We had this with Danny Sprinkle and Harold Frey at Montana State recently as well. And I think that's one thing that makes a mature coach is sort of relinquishing control and realizing, hey, this guy's been here for 5 years. He's been the pinnacle of this program. That's sort of the centerpiece of the program. And so let's just empower him to be as good as he possibly can be. So interesting thoughts there from Freddie Banks on Troy Anderson, All-American linebacker for Montana State. Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Missoula, SWX Montana Television. Talking all things Bobcat football, particularly the Bobcat defense and how it might evolve here in year one under Brent Deegan and his staff, particularly defensive coordinator Freddie Banks. Another guy who is going to be relied on heavily. I believe that Amandre Williams is one of the better edge players in the league. I think he will be no matter what way you line him up. I think Chase Benson's one of the best interior defensive linemen in the league, and I think he will be no matter how you line him up. I think Troy Anderson will be successful no matter what he does. Is it the elite success that you covet so much out of a guy that is such a unique and special talent? We'll see, but I think he'll be all Big Sky good no matter what. I do think they have talent in the secondary that if they come along, I think also playing for a defensive coordinator that is the secondary coach as well will help accelerate the young group on the back end, their prowess. And we're going to get to the secondary in just a quick minute, but the guy that could be the breakout player of this Bobcat defense is Daniel Hardy. He's been one of the best athletes on the team since he arrived. Super raw kid, a kid that played basketball most of his high school career, ended up going the junior college route. When he got to MSU, he was first playing buck end, but he just wasn't quite heavy enough for that, so he played some Sam linebacker backing up Troy Anderson. He ended up starting some games down the stretch in 2019 when Anderson was sort of in and out and then completely out of the lineup. And now he's playing with his hand in the dirt. He's put on about 15 or 20 pounds. He looks like a great athlete, and he looks like a guy he looks like a defensive end, I guess I could say. So Coach Banks, he was asked about Daniel Hardy. He did not mince words at what he thinks Hardy's potential could be.
I think he can be one of the most explosive defensive ends in the country in FCS, and that's the expectation for him. I think he'd be a really good pass rusher, and he's really good at the point of attack and run game. Our expectations are really high for him. And I think a lot of people will be surprised. We won't be surprised, but we're really pleased with him. He was actually one of the guys that are projected starters that went through all the spring, so he got all of those reps. And he's an explosive athlete. Played receiver in high school. I mean, he's one of the better athletes on the team, so we're excited about it.
If you ever seen him dance, when he finishes his dances, he'll do these standing backflips. I've seen him do it in full pads. He's a ridiculous athlete, 6'3", 230, really explosive off the edge, and I think that Daniel Hardy's definitely a guy that people are going to expect a lot out of us, particularly the Montana State coaching staff and the MSU defense. Nuanez now, 102.9 ESPN Missoula, SWX Montana Television. I'm Colter Nuanez, sharing some sound bites with Freddie Banks, defensive coordinator for the Bobcats, as Montana State now almost to their second week of fall camp. They opened about 4 days earlier than Montana, so they'll have their 1 week, quote-unquote, anniversary on Friday. And they're getting some work done on the other side of the Continental Divide as well. So here's one last soundbite from Freddie Banks. The MSU secondary, definitely one that has the most position battles. I think they have a lot of talent there to fight for those position battles. But there's some question marks there. When you lose Braden Conkle, Jackway Allen, and JoJo Henderson at safety, you lose Damian Washington and Greg Munchie-Filer and the Gibson twins at corner. All of a sudden, you got a lot of new faces. I think Tyrell Thomas will be one of the corners, probably the nickel. The guys that are sort of the front runners on the outside, Eric Zambrano, who's a long and talented sophomore. James Campbell, a junior who's a converted wide receiver, who's been maybe the most improved player of the entire offseason for Montana State. Lavelle Price Jr. could be in there. Simeon Woodard, who's a freshman, as well as Miles Jackson, a freshman. All those guys could battle it out at corner. I think Ty Okada is entrenched at safety, but I think that there's some other guys. I think Jeffrey Manning will have an inside track as a safety starter as well. But there's some other guys, particularly Trey Webb, a San Jose State transfer who just arrived on campus not long ago, a guy that started at San Jose State for 3 years, was an All-Mountain West guy on San Jose State's Mountain West Championship team this last fall, and a guy that could make a big impact as well. So there's a lot of bodies to choose from on that back. And Rylan Orr, Missoula Sentinel product, might also be in the mix there at safety as well. But a lot of guys in the mix in the secondary. To me, there's two parts of the secondary equation. One, talent. Do you got the talent to perform? Then two, execution, learning the scheme. I think Freddie Banks agrees. Here's Freddie Banks, Montana State defensive coordinator and secondary coach, on his secondary.
The talent part of the equation, the experience part of the equation. It seems like you got the talent part figured out. So how do you get the experience part kind of out?
Man, we're going to grind them and grind them and grind them through. We're going to be ready to go. We're going to do whatever we got to do as a defense to get those guys up to speed. We're going to coach them every single rep, make sure they go through every situation. And the goal is for that secondary, for those young guys, that we leave out of camp and we're a disciplined group. Because we're talented, but we got to be disciplined. We got to be able to execute at a really high level. Now, I think if we get that out of those guys, if we end camp 25th or so around that, and we say we're a disciplined group, we're going to have a chance to win a lot of football games. So that'll be a huge focal point for us.
Since that's your expertise, how much pride do you take in that unit?
Take a lot of pride in that unit. And over the years, I've taken young groups and got them ready to play, and I don't know how to do it, but just grinding them over and over again and walkthroughs and film, and you don't let any detail pass. You coach them every single rep, and they're not gonna like it, but they'll like it when we hit September 4th. And I told them that it's gonna be a tough camp for them, but we'll get it done for sure.
Would it be fair to say Tyrell's kind of the leader of that group, at least the quarterback?
Yeah, Tyrell is actually going to be playing some nickel for us, and then Ty Okada is definitely a leader in that group. Those two are the guys that guys look up to and listen to, so we're excited about them. So we're not completely young, but to add depth, we got some young guys are going to be playing some key roles for us.
And Jeffrey, what have been your kind of impressions of him so far?
Oh, yeah, we're excited about Jeff. He's a talented guy. Glad we got him. Really talented transfer. So.
I want to ask about the nickel position. Because in layman's terms, people used to think that's just the third corner, but it's emerged as such a premier position in football now. So just your thoughts on the evolution of nickelback.
Well, really, it's a corner that can hold up in the box. You know, Tyrell Thomas, that's him. Big guy that can maybe be in a run fit, that can get backs down consistently, could end up in the box with some motion adjustments, but you can also keep him out of the box schematically. And a guy who can line up and win in one-on-one matchups against those little slots. So it's really a mix of toughness and athletic ability. not everybody that plays corner can line up in the nickel and do that. So he's got a unique skill set.
Well, that matchup becomes so tough, right? Because so many people move premier receivers into the slot now too. So just like that element.
Yep, and we get the man coverage. We want to be able to match up all over the field. There'll be some times where we don't really care where you line up at. Tyrell, you got that guy, and go cover him. And Easy, you got and James, whatever the matchups are. Not every play, but there'll be some times where we go match up, and we got big guys, little guys, fast guys, strong guys that we feel like we can match up with everybody in the conference.
There you go. A lot of confidence from Montana State defensive coordinator Freddie Banks. Joining us here on Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Missoula, as well as SWX Montana Television. I'm Colter Nuanez. We're going to talk some more Grizz and Bobcat football a little later on in the show. We're going to hear from Bobby Hauck, Montana head coach, in hour number 2. But before that, something we do every year, once a year, but something that's very fun. It's the B&R Celtic Games coming up here on August 21st and 22nd. And this is cool. So our good friend Garrett, who swings by about once a year, is here to interview with us. So he'll join us here on Nuanez Now right after this.
When it comes to Montana summer adventures, embrace the thrill of the drive. Wherever the road leads you, no matter the challenge, welcome it with Northwest Motorsport. We're the largest pre-owned dealership in the Pacific Northwest and proud to be serving Montana with a huge selection of cars, trucks, and SUVs at NWMSRocks.com. Finish off your summer right with an off-road lifted or diesel rig from Northwest Motorsport. Trucks, and more trucks.
You've been waiting far too long to get back on the links. I mean, summer's here, so I think you should head on out to Canyon River Golf Club. Canyon River boasts a pristine 18-hole championship golf course set along the Clark Fork River in the beautiful mountain valley of East Missoula. The challenging course is meticulously manicured and in perfect shape. Now, Canyon River also has golf carts with the Shark experience. That's right, giving you laser-sharp GPS. It's the most beautiful time of the year in Montana, so get out and play at Canyon River Golf Club.
Oh, I love family road trips. Wind in my ears.
Good dog.
Fridge in my mouth. And peace of mind knowing Les Schwab did our tires, brakes, and alignment. Like Les Schwab, my family's safety is my first priority. Well, that and squeaky toys.
Swing by today and get road trip ready with our always free pre-trip safety check. Les Schwab Tires. Applies to passenger cars, SUVs, and light trucks only. Details at leschwab.com/safety.
Blaine McElmurray knows what you can achieve through hard work as an athlete from a small town in Montana. The Troy native rose up to become an All-American safety for the Grizzlies on UM's 95 National Championship team before spending time playing in the NFL. McElmurray has also used those values in his work at McElmurray Homes. Since 2003, McElmurray Homes has helped contract and subcontract some of the Garden City's finest houses. McElmurray Homes is committed to offering quality custom service, quality products, and the best prices throughout any project. And McElmurray Homes is also a proud supporter of high school athletes around the state of Montana. Colter Nuanez from ESPN Missoula. And those that have been watching Tutel Nuanez on TV, you probably noticed that for a while I was missing one of my bottom teeth. A baseball, a busted row of teeth, it's a long story, but if you've tuned in lately, you noticed that my tooth is fixed. I owe my new smile to Dr. Gene Morris at Oral Surgical Associates. Dr. Morris is the most trusted oral surgeon in Montana and has extensive experience in all forms of oral surgery. And if you look at my smile, if you never knew, you'd never know I was once missing a tooth. For all your oral surgical needs, call Dr. Morris at Oral Surgical Associates today.
Are you ready to step up your hair game but just not sure where to go? Compass Barbershop is for you. A retro barbershop and salon for men and women. From precision cuts and shaves to facial waxing, Compass Barbershop has it all, including convenient online booking. You can schedule your appointment at compassbarber.com or just stop by any day of the week. You can also find Compass Barbershop on Instagram and Facebook. Find your way to Compass Barbershop. Open for business 7 days a week on the hip strip at the corner of modern and retro.
This is Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Radio Missoula.
Do you like lifting and throwing heavy stuff all over the place? Well, do we have an event for you to either participate in or go watch, or maybe even both? Welcome back to Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Missoula, SWX Montana Television, broadcasting to you live here from the Northwest Motorsport Studio. Go check out Northwest Motorsport, new to Missoula, corner of Stevens and Mount. They also are available online, nwmsrocks.com. That's nwmsrocks.com. This is about a once-a-year occurrence, but always one we really enjoy because this is a fun event, and it also makes for good radio because these are some unorthodox events that these people are going to participate in. Next weekend, August 21st and 22nd, that's a Saturday and a Sunday, the 12th annual Bitterroot Celtic Games and Gathering. It's at the Daily Mansion. If you haven't been there, you should go, just period. It's an awesome place. What a beautiful venue and a piece of history as well. But this event itself is going to be very fun. All sorts of things going on next weekend. Garrett Middleton, he swings by at least once a year to help us spread the word about this great event. How you been, man? What's going on?
Oh, I've been good. Just getting ready for the big Highland Games coming up here.
This is always super fun. So these are sort of Celtic-style sports, right? So these are quote-unquote ancient-type sports, right?
Ancient Scottish athletics. Guys and gals throwing big, heavy things, either for distance or for height or for accuracy.
What is the most challenging part of that? Is it the weight, the height, or the accuracy that makes the throwing of these things hard?
Well, it depends on the event, but every event has a different amount of difficulty to them. So some people might pick up one event better than the other. But the caber, which is a fan favorite, that's always the hardest one for anybody to learn how to do.
I know you've participated in the past. Are you an athlete this year?
I believe I will be a judge this year.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Well, this seems like, unless you're actually really taking it seriously, I know a lot of people do take this very seriously, but it seems like this is a way to get hurt if you're not really staying engaged in this, because this is some heavy weight and some awkward movements sometimes, right?
Absolutely. Northern Rockies Orthopedics, they really like me. I think I've seen every surgeon there. But yes, you can get hurt. However, you train for it and you just do your best, and sometimes it happens, but more than likely you'll be just fine.
So tell people a little bit about some of the other events, because there's a whole docket of events that people can come out and watch. And by the way, tickets are available online or at the gate for this thing. There's also a free shuttle from Hamilton High School, or you can park at the mansion for $10. But tell people what else they can sort of expect to see during this event.
Well, for the Highland Games, you have 2 stone throws, which is basically rocks, and you throw them shot put style. You have 2 hammer tosses, a light and a heavy. You have a weight for distance, and you have a weight over bar, which is just a big weight, and you throw it as high as you can. A sheath toss, which is a burlap sack, and you throw it as high as you can with a pitchfork. And obviously you have the caber toss as well.
I find this so fun, and I think that anybody that especially has kids, I think would find this really fun as well. But this is open for everybody, right? I mean, it's a great family event. You can come out. It's not just watching these games, but there's also live music. There'll be some Irish dancing, some bagpipes. There's food. So, I mean, it's an event for the whole family, right?
It sure is. It's the big grounds, the Daily Mansion. You can walk through the whole the grounds throughout the whole day and see something different going on throughout the whole day. A lot of people come there for the 2 days and still don't see it all. And so, for young and old, come out and see what we have available.
They also have, for the those of age, they got some local beers that are going to be available, and also some scotch and mead tasting as well. I will say, caution yourself with the mead, because you can get out over your skis a little bit with some of this stuff, but this is also a fun element of it as well, sort of highlighting some of our local brewers and distillers.
Absolutely. We have the scotch and mead, and there's some scotch tasting, and you get to hear the history about it as well, too. Mm-hmm. And so the distillers and brewmasters will come and talk to you about how it's made and, the flavors that they chose.
bcgg.org. That's easy. Just think of Bitterroot Celtic Games and Gathering, bcgg.org. You can find all the information you need there. Also, a cool factor here, kids 11 and under free if the adults are paying the admission. So this is a great way for you to go spend some time outside with your family at a beautiful place, too. The Daily Mansion is one of the great places to spend a summer afternoon.
And on that Sunday with the kids, I host a 5 to 11 kids Highland game. So
nice.
All the weights are for the kids. So 5 years old to 11 years old, they're different weights, and they can compete as well, free of charge. And you can bring their kids and just have them, watch them throw rocks and hammers and weights over the bar.
Garrett Middleton joining us here. Nuanez now the 12th annual Bitterroot Celtic Games and Gathering at the Daily Mansion next weekend. That's August 21st and 22nd. 20th and 21st, excuse me. What else do we need to know about this? Any other details that we need to know?
Ooh, let's see. Well, it's a great event. It's been going on for quite a while now, and I think it's going to be bigger than ever. We have more athletes than ever signed up. We'll have 100 athletes throughout the grounds competing in all these 9 different events throughout the day. And like I said, it's a fun family atmosphere, and if you haven't been there, you're missing out, so come check us out this year.
It is super fun. A couple years ago, I swung out for a little while, and it was a spectacle to be had, and it's definitely something unique, something family friendly, and a great way to spend a summer afternoon, or maybe even 2, down the Bitterroot Valley. Garrett, thanks so much for swinging by, man. It's good to see you.
Yeah, absolutely. Look forward to it again next year.
12th annual Bitterroot Celtic Games and Gathering at the Daily Mansion next weekend. Go check it out. You want more information? bcgg.org. Can't wait to talk to this next guy, Joey Lovell. He most recently was named an assistant golf coach at Montana State, but before that, he lit up my home golf course to the tune of a 19-under win in the Men's State Amateur Golf Championship. Joey Lovell, a Bozeman product and the reigning Men's State Amateur Golf Champion of Montana, will join us next here on Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Missoula.
This is Mike Nugent with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. Berkshire Hathaway provides Western Montana with full-time real estate professionals for you whenever you need us. Our reputation as the state's most knowledgeable and available real estate group has helped build unmatched trust in the Garden City and statewide. If you have been thinking of making a real estate move in the short or long term, give me a call. No pressure, no expectations. Just professional opinions and service at whatever pace you are comfortable with. Give me, Mike Nugent, a call today, 531-1802. And remember, every question is good to ask.
When it comes to Montana summer adventures, embrace the thrill of the drive. Wherever the road leads you, no matter the challenge, welcome it with Northwest Motorsport. We're the largest pre-owned dealership in the Pacific Northwest and proud to be serving Montana with a huge selection of cars, trucks, and SUVs at NWMSRocks.com. Finish off your summer right with an off-road lifted or diesel rig from Northwest Motorsport. Trucks, and more trucks.
Like most Montanans, we love a good steak. And because we're the Montana Club, we take the steaks we serve very seriously. We're confident to say that our custom grilled steaks are as good a steak as you're going to get. Now we're proud to add regionally sourced, naturally raised Castle Rock bison ribeye to our selection. And remember, the Montana Club steak entrees include the sides. Come into the Montana Club today for an unrivaled steak experience. The Montana Club on Brooks and North Reserve, Missoula.
Blaine McElmurray knows what you can achieve through hard work as an athlete from a small town in Montana. The Troy native rose up to become an All-American safety for the Grizzlies on UM's 95 National Championship team before spending time playing in the NFL. McElmurray has also used those values in his work at McElmurray Homes. Since 2003, McElmurray Homes has helped contract and subcontract some of the Garden City's finest houses. McElmurray Homes is committed to offering quality custom service, quality products, and the best prices throughout any project. And McElmurray Homes is also a proud supporter of high school athletes around the state of Montana.
The Missoula Education Foundation is hosting the second annual Scramble for Students Friday, September 17th at the Missoula Country Club. Since 2007, the Missoula Education Foundation has supported Missoula County Public Schools through grants and scholarships to enhance learning and creativity in the classroom. Registration is now open. Teams of 4 will receive a golf cart, lunch, cocktails, raffles, a swag bag, and a fun after party. To register for the Missoula Education Foundation Scramble for Students, please visit MissoulaEdFoundation.org.
If you haven't tasted Florence Coffee's signature Power Shot, you've got to stop by and check it out. Espresso shots and cream, poured over ice, and topped off with whipped cream, sprinkled with raw sugar. Come visit us for an afternoon pick-me-up and try any of our iced lattes, cold brew, or delicious frappes. And go to FlorenceCoffeeCo.com.
The best flavor under the big sky. Florence Coffee Company.
It's Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Missoula. Watch the show statewide on SWX Montana Television.
Why can't I be this good at golf? We're going to determine that, but more importantly, actually talk about a guy that really is damn good at golf. Welcome back in. It's Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Missoula. Or maybe you're watching in statewide television, SWX Montana television. I'm Colter Nuanez. We're broadcasting to you live from the Northwest Motorsport studio. Northwest Motorsport is located at the corner of Stevens and Mount here in Missoula. They're new to town. They boast the largest inventory of trucks anywhere in the Pacific Northwest. You can also find them online, nwmsrocks.com. That's nwmsrocks.com. Time now for our Garden City Spotlight. The guy who's going to join us, Joey Lovell, the recently anointed state champion of men's amateur golf in the state of Montana. He's actually from Bozeman, but he won his championship here in Missoula at a great sponsor of ours, the Canyon River Golf Club out in East Missoula. Awesome supporter here of Nuanez Now. And because of that support, it's become sort of my home course. So I have a lot of different questions for Joey on how maybe I can go out there and shoot 19 under over the weekend because, you know, I'm so far away from that, it's not even possible. Garden City Spotlight is brought to us by Dr. Gene Morris of Oral Surgical Associates. If you're looking for an oral surgeon in Missoula who offers compassionate care, advanced technology, and comprehensive treatment, Dr. Gene Morris at Oral Surgical Associates is the man for you. Dr. Gene Morris provides a full range of care, including implants, emergency surgeries, and wisdom teeth removal. Dr. Morris and his staff use advanced imaging technology for more accurate diagnosis and effective treatments, while also using innovative techniques to treat a wide range of problems. To benefit from this outstanding level of care, schedule an appointment with Dr. Gene Morris at Oral Surgical Associates today. Joey, I know we've been sort of playing phone tag because you've been on the road for a little while, but thanks so much for coming on with us, my man. How you doing?
Good. Thanks, Colter. I appreciate you having me on. Yeah, it's been a busy summer, but finally back home and settling in and, excited to be the champion. That's for sure.
No doubt. Well, there's been some big names that have risen up in the world of Montana golf. Some really good, super talented young guys. I mean, Riggs Johnson's playing in the USAM. I mean, he's playing in the NCAA championships. And Joey Moore, kid from Billings, who's now playing at San Diego State, he looked like the favorite coming into this men's state am. So when you were preparing yourself for this, I know you've been a golf professional as well, most recently working at Black Bull there in Bozeman. So you obviously have some game as well. But some of these young guys are just incredible talent. So what was sort of the mental preparation for you as you were getting ready for the men's state am here a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, I mean, you got to focus on your own game. You know, obviously, I know there's some good names out there. Riggs, unfortunately, wasn't playing, but I knew Joey was going to play, and just knowing that he's going to be in the field, and again, not just himself, but Nathan Bailey and some other great guys, Spencer Williams, out there playing, and a handful of other guys that play at MSUB and throughout the state, where some big guys to beat. But again, it was just to get my driver dialed in and the putter dialed in, because Canyon River is a place where you can kind of just bomb it, and if you don't make any putts, you're really not going to score that well. So it kind of sets up well for my game. I like to hit the driver a lot. So
it is funny because I play golf around Missoula, and I got buddies that are members out at the Ranch Club. I got a lot of buddies that are members of the Missoula Country Club, and all through the primary courses in Missoula are very good, very very fun championship level courses. But you're right, there's not the tree elements or the fescue elements like there is at the Ranch Club and Country Club. At Canyon River, you kind of have to swing away, but some of the greens are contoured or different levels, and there is some tricky putts that can be had out there. And I know that the first day of the tournament, Joey Moore ripped the face off that course. He shot a 62, tying the course record. I mean, it was a spectacle to behold. But you yourself, you just seemed to kind of stay in it, and you ended up going 66, 65, 66, which earned you a one-shot victory. But when a guy that you know is going to be one of, if not the favorites, coming into this thing, does what Joey Moore did, where he shoots a first-round 62, how do you not get intimidated by that?
I was playing with him, and so that's a great question because I was staying with him most of the day. He holes out on hole one for an eagle, and I birdied the first two holes, so I kind of catch him after the second hole, and then I got a one-shot lead on him going into the ninth hole. I'm 4 under, he's 3 under. And he hoops that one for a deuce as well for a double eagle.
Jeez.
So
that's on 9? Just so I'm imagining
9, yeah.
So he hit his second shot in the hole on 9.
And on 1. So he bookends twos.
My goodness.
Yeah, it was unreal. So I birdie 9, I shoot 5 under, end up being down 1, and then he birdies 10, birdies 11. I mean, he's on a 59 watch, where at this point it's like, all right, well, just stay in it any way you can. But again, Joey's a good friend of mine, and I wanted to see a 59. I mean, I really wanted to see a 59.
Sure, of course.
Yeah. So, no, but it was awesome to watch, and it was really just stick to my game, and I know if I can continue playing good golf, I would have a chance come that final day, because you can't win it on the first day, right? That's the saying, you can lose it on the first day. And, he steadied his ship the whole way in and shot 62, and it was kind of like he gave a few away. I mean, which is hard to say, where he could have shot easily 59, 60, 61, which was unreal. But we went and had dinner together that night, again, because he's a good buddy of mine. We had dinner the night after that, too, with each other. We were hitting balls up a buddy's balcony, and, again, we're good friends. So we were rooting each other on, but in the same sense, we want to beat each other up every time we play.
Joey Lovell joining us, the recent winner of the Montana Men's State Amateur Golf Tournament out at Canyon River here in Missoula. It's part of our Garden City Spotlight, presented in part by Dr. Gene Morris of Oral Surgical Associates. And Joey, I always blame my buddies on this. Whenever I'm playing good, if my buddy starts playing bad, then I start playing bad too. It's kind of like golf by osmosis. But is there an element of that? I mean, when a guy really is lighting it like that, is there an element of sort of, hey, I got to keep up with this guy, so now you start playing better too?
Most definitely, and especially in that situation where, again, Canyon River reminds me a lot of Blackpool, where I play most of my golf. Where you can just you can hit it out there, you can bomb it, but again, it's about getting on those greens. And when a putt is rolling and it's going towards the hole, it doesn't move offline. It's going to go in. And when the putter's rolling good, it feels good. And when my putter's rolling good, I know I could shoot any number as well. But it was keep up, or you're going to be blown out for sure.
But the finish of this, despite all these low numbers and everybody's getting birdies, the finish really came down to just being solid through the last 4 or 5 holes, and you were able to grind it out, and you parred 3 of the last 5 to finish at -19, and you get the one-stroke victory. So how were you able to sort of lock in mentally and grind it out down that stretch and emerge as the victor?
Yeah, he caught me on the 12th hole, because I ended up taking a 3-shot lead heading into the back 9 of that final 18. And then he caught me by the 12th hole. He eagled 11, birdied 12, and it was a tie game. And then I overtook it after hole 14 with a 1-shot lead. And, again, I had some birdie putts, and he was getting up and down for pars, and had a nice-looking birdie putt on 17 that I didn't capitalize on, and he made a great par putt. And, he had an eagle look on 18, blew it by. He was up first. He made it. And I ended up getting up and down from 105 yards out and making a 12-footer, and it was just kind of steady your hands and do what you do. And I looked up with about 3 feet away, and it was dead center, and was able to walk it in. And, I gave Joey a big hug right away, right after that. And again, I'm his biggest fan, but I bet you he would say the same about me too, which was fun.
Joey Lovell joining us here on Nuanez now. The recently anointed men's state amateur champion won that tournament here at Canyon River, Missoula. Canyon River, great sponsor of us here at ESPN Missoula. Is this the biggest tournament you ever won? I know you played golf in Sandpoint in high school, played college golf at Lewis and Clark State for a couple years, but where does this compare in terms of tournament victories? Because winning any golf tournament is a big deal no matter what level of golfer you are.
Yeah. It's definitely the biggest championship I've ever won. I've taken second here behind Riggs before in the state am.
Yep.
I've taken fifth in the Idaho State Amateur in Idaho. I've won the U.S. Open local qualifier there at Missoula Country Club this year, which was fun. I mean, that was a nice victory to get and have a chance to play in the U.S. Open. But as far as the championship golf tournament is concerned, I would say easily this is my biggest victory.
What was your golf game like afterwards? Because sometimes when you have the high, you just keep on going, you keep playing great, or sometimes maybe it dips a little bit. How's your game been since you won this thing?
It's kind of funny. I went and played in another big, large championship over in Sandpoint, Idaho at the Idaho Club called the Pacific Northwest Golf Association Men's Amateur. And that golf course is as hard as the golf course I've ever played. And so, granted, my game was good. The cut was at 11 over, and I missed it. So, so a little bit of the hangover from, the high that I had from winning. But, I would say that the silver lining there was I was able to visit my family and be on the lake every day the rest of the week in those 90-degree temps. So while obviously I wanted to play well, you can't really replace that family time and getting to spend it with my nephews and nieces and brothers and sisters and such. So.
And Joey, you mentioned Riggs Johnson. He's sort of a prodigy when it comes to Montana golf. He was shooting unbelievably low scores when he was just a teenager, and now he's sitting there at Arizona State. He's competing on the national stage at the NCAA championships for the Sun Devils. But you played some golf against him. So what sort of talent do you think he is? Because it seems like he is a guy that has next-level talent if he really continues to improve his golf game.
Yeah, when I say I took second to him, he beat me by 8 shots. So wow. He's as good as they come. And, being able to watch him and root for these Montana guys, Joey and him. But, yeah, Riggs has got that extra game with the distance, with his up and down, with his short game. He's I believe he has what it takes, and he hits a really high ball. And it's exciting to watch him to play. And obviously Arizona State's one of the top in the country. He took third at nationals. He made it to the top 64 match play for the USAM. Joey unfortunately just missed it by a couple of shots, but Riggs, he has the game, and it's fun to watch. He bombs it. I mean, he bombs it.
You were in the news because of this State Am win, but also in the news, Joey Lovell, by the way, Bozeman product, who was joining us here on Nuanez now, part of our Garden City Spotlight. He recently won the Men's State Amateur Championship here in Missoula at the Canyon River Golf Club. But now you got a new opportunity here, helping out with the Montana State women's golf team. So tell us how this sort of came about. And Brittany Basie, awesome lady in general, just an awesome person. I always love playing in that tournament out at Black Bull, supporting those Montana State girls. But she must be fun to work with. But just tell us about how this opportunity came about and what you're excited about getting to coach some college golf.
Yeah, right after college, I thought it'd be something fun to get into. I always enjoyed teaching, whether that's teaching beginners or teaching people who are just trying to get better. But being able to be a part of a group of 9 to 10 girls who are great Division I golfers already, and just be able to enhance, their game. Since I've been in their situation, I know what I would do better. I know how I could potentially make the team stronger. And I met Brittany my first year out here in 2013, and just said, how can I volunteer? How can I help? How can I be a part of Montana State? And, the logistics there with volunteering and going through the NCAA. And, again, with me having a full-time job, just never really panned out until, I got into real estate and saw how much time I could potentially have. And, being after COVID and the pandemic, just kind of lined up perfectly to where I spoke with Brittany and she needed a person. And lucky enough, I was that guy. And just fortunate to have this opportunity and be a part of Montana State athletics.
If you could give it the average afternoon hacker, this is so funny because I've been playing a ton of golf trying to get better. I'm a baseball player growing up, so I'm behind the learning curve for somebody in their mid-30s, let's say that. But I've been playing okay lately this summer. But I remember the day that you went 66 and the day that Joey went 62 to open up the Men's State Am. I'd played out there about 2 days earlier, and I was so stoked over my 82. So you guys are light years ahead of me. But just for the everyday golfer out there, what sort of advice would you give them? Because there's a lot of different ways to play golf. I think sometimes people make it a little bit too complicated. But if there's just one piece of advice you could give just your average Sunday hacker, what would it be?
Yeah, I always think of fundamentals. And the thing where I see people most kind of struggle is their alignment. And we have these alignment sticks and everybody hits at the range and everybody goes and practices, but I just don't think they really practice with the necessary purpose. And going back to, the alignment sticks and fundamentals of knowing where you're aligned and knowing where the ball position is and knowing where your grip is and having all your lines be lined up, whether it's your feet, your knees, your hips, your shoulders, and just kind of breaking it back down to the basics and then going from there. Because if you aren't lined up correctly, you have to finagle your swing, I guess, in order to hit it back to your target line. And if you're going to practice, may as well practice lining up correctly and having the correct ball position. And then when you see the ball move off from there, then you can adjust.
I already feel 10 strokes better. Joey, thanks so much for joining us here, man. Appreciate the time. Glad to catch up with you. Congratulations again. I think that when you're, just a guy out there in the world, you can win cool tournaments like that. I think it's a feather in your cap. It's a fun way to extend your athletic career and have something to talk about. But congratulations again on your great performance. And thanks so much for joining us here on Nuanez Now.
Thank you so much, Coulter. I appreciate it. And go Cats.
Joey Lovell, new assistant coach of Montana State women's golf, but also the recently anointed champion of the men's state amateur, 19 under, Canyon River. Man, what a deal. I just can't imagine being that good. It is a fun course. You can swing away, and I love swinging away out there, but not to the tune of a 66. Goals. There's my goal for the next 10 years of my life. Although I don't know if I'd actually be good at anything else, because I'd have to play so much freaking golf to be able to get that good. It might take me the rest of time. Joey Lovell was kind enough to join us here on our Garden City Spotlight. He's from Bozeman, but he won the tournament in Missoula. So Garden City Spotlight highlights great athletes and coaches from around the state of around the city of Missoula. We're going to go back to the original iteration of the Garden City Spotlight here pretty shortly, probably a week or two from now. This originated as a segment in which we interviewed all three of the Class AA high school football coaches from around the city of Missoula. And we'll do that again. I touched base with those guys last week. So Mick Morris at Hellgate, Dane Oliver at Missoula Sentinel, and Matt Johnson at Missoula Big Sky. They will all be joining us each week as part of the Garden City Spotlight. Probably play this most of the time on Fridays here on Nuanez now. So stay tuned for that. Garden City Spotlight is proudly presented by Dr. Gene Morris of Oral Surgical Associates. You need a place to get your wisdom teeth out. It's an essential part of life. You don't want to do it, but you need to do it. And I promise you're going to want to go see an oral surgeon. Dr. Gene Morris, he'll be gentle with you. It'll be efficient, and he'll make sure to manage your pain and your recovery as well as anybody. Don't screw around. We need your wisdom teeth out. Go see an oral surgeon. Dr. Gene Morris at Oral Surgical Associates is your guy. Visit oralsurgicalassociates.com today to learn more about what Dr. Gene Morris can do for you. Hour one in the books. Hour two coming at you. Got a sweet giveaway coming up. Got some comedy from our good friend Carolyn, the chick who doesn't know sports. And we'll hear from Montana head coach Bobby Houck. All that and more right here on Nuanez Now. Keep it right here on ESPN Missoula.
Garden City Paint and Glass is proud to offer a huge variety of high-quality paints and stains at affordable prices, like C2 Paints, Dunn & Edwards, and Prolux Seekin Paints. These brands offer you great quality and great prices. The trained staff at Garden City Paint and Glass will help you with the right colors and tools to get your project right. Visit GardenCityPaintandGlass.com for more information or give them a call at 549-0608. Garden City Paint and Glass, locally owned and serving Montana for over 30 years.
Do you want to take your golf game to the next level? To be the best you can be on the links, knowing the course is essential. At Canyon River Golf Course, they have a brand new fleet of golf carts complete with the Shark Experience, a state-of-the-art GPS system that offers precise distance-to-pin measurements, hole flyovers, pro tips, and more. In addition, music and entertainment choices provide any golfer with all you need to thrive at Canyon River. Located in East Missoula, Canyon River offers a championship golf experience set on a beautiful, immaculately curated course. For more information, visit CanyonRiverGolfClub.com today.
Oh, I love family road trips. Wind in my ears.
Good dog.
Treats in my mouth. And peace of mind, knowing Les Schwab did our tires, brakes, and alignment. Like Les Schwab, my family's safety is my first priority. Well, that and squeaky toys.
Swing by today and get road trip ready with our always free pre-trip safety check. Les Schwab Tires. Applies to passenger cars, SUVs, and light trucks only. Details at leschwab.com/safety.
Hey, it's Colter Nuanez from Nuanez Now here with Brent Wahlberg of the Wahlberg team at Windermere Real Estate. It's a complicated real estate market right now. What do you think is the biggest challenge?
This is a real tough market for buyers because what we have right now is an unprecedented lack of available options, low supply. You have to be extra competitive. You've got to make your first offer your strongest offer. Experts like myself in this market can really help people do that.
Call Brent Wahlberg and the Wahlberg team at 529-4663 today. When it comes to your health, and particularly your medication, it's important to know that the folks helping fill your prescriptions care about you. Lolo Drug is a locally owned and operated pharmacy located at 103 Glacier Drive in Lolo, where pharmacist Corey and his team will always treat you like their neighbors. Skip the long lines and the impersonal service. Instead, let Lolo Drug let you feel like you matter, because you do. Lolo Drug, your friendliest neighborhood pharmacy located off of Highway 93 on Glacier Drive in Lolo. Why build a work history at a job when you can build a future in your own business? Westpac Wealth Partners is looking for entrepreneurial-minded people who are ready to take their future into their own hands. Nick Tabor and his associates provide clients with financial tools and tested solutions for navigating this complex financial climate. Westpac Wealth also has a work culture that has been recognized as a best workplace in Fortune magazine. If you're ready to start building a business in a long-term career, apply at westpacwealth.com. Westpac Wealth Partners, LLC is not an affiliate or subsidiary of PAS or Guardian. Insurance products offered through Westpac Wealth Partners and Insurance Services, LLC, a DBA of Westpac Wealth Partners, LLC.
ESPN Radio for Western Montana, KKVU HD3 Stevensville, and 102.9 FM on K275BS Missoula.
What up, Montana? Dance yourself clean indeed. Got a message from a colleague today. North Dakota used to be in the Big Sky Conference, as most people remember. And University of North Dakota, that is, which is in Grand Forks. But last night, Guns N' Roses was in Fargo. I used to do appearances on a podcast with some guys. UND Football 360. I would appear on their podcast every once in a while when UND was still in the Big Sky Conference, so I got to know those guys a little bit. And they tweeted and tagged me today, basically talking about the Guns N' Roses show last night in Fargo. The tweet said, quote, PSA to all Grizz football fans and those around Missoula and Montana. If you want to have an unbelievable time, go to Guns N' Roses tomorrow. That's Friday at Washington Grizz. Axel and Slash were off the charts good last night in Fargo. That's great news. I loved Guns N' Roses as a kid. They're a little bit before my generation because they were most famous in the late 80s, and I was born in the late 1980s. But I gained an affinity for them, and I just loved them when I was a kid, and from the music videos to just sort of the legend of Axl Rose and Slash. So I'm really looking forward to tomorrow night, and I hope you are too. If you are attending the concert, or even if you're not, come hang out with us. We'll be broadcasting to you first on Jack FM, then on ESPN Missoula, live from the Chamber of Commerce parking lot from 2 to 6 p.m. tomorrow. And Regime Seabrook will be riding with me. Tommy Evans will be rolling with us as well, and a bunch of us from Missoula Broadcasting Company will be down there helping you ring in what should be one of the great concerts of the year at Washington Grizzly Stadium, Guns N' Roses. So come check us out and come hang out with us. Listen to Nuanez now, 102.9 ESPN Missoula, SWX Montana Television, one-stop shop for all things sports. Talk a little music around here from time to time as well. If you missed anything in the first hour of the show, some fun guests. We heard from Freddie Banks, Montana State defensive coordinator. We also heard from Garrett Middleton. He's one of the guys heading up the Bitterroot Celtic Games and Gathering at the Daily Mansion next weekend. A great event with all sorts of unorthodox, and sort of old school Scottish style sports. So if you want something cool to do with your family and friends, go check out that Bitterroot Celtic Games and Gathering next weekend. And then we also heard from Joey Lovell, the most recent winner of the Montana Men's State Am Golf Championship. It happened here at Canyon River. You can find everything from the first hour of Nuanez Now Today on the podcast. Podcast is available on all of your podcast hosting platforms, Nuanez. Please rate, review, subscribe. It is proudly presented by Blackfoot Communications, the Wingate by Wyndham Hotel, and Sportsbet Montana. So I spent 3 hours on Zoom last night learning about the French origin of the word mortgage. It means something along the lines of death tax or something like that. Because basically when you buy a house, or at least when you used to buy a house, that was it for you. You're going to live in that house for the rest of your life and be in debt for the rest of your life. But that's here nor there. I also got my windshield shattered by a football at Grizz practice.
I mean, if that isn't like destiny, I don't know what is.
I know. That's why I'm not even mad. I put it on Twitter or just laughing because the guy that's been to more football practices than anybody in town should know where to park I should have not been lazy and parked right below the field goals.
Yeah, that's just...
It's full karma. I fully deserved it. I'm fully willing to pay full price.
But it's also, like, poetic. I mean...
It is, too, because the University of Montana currently has a kicker competition going on, and we're going to talk kickers here on The Chick Who Doesn't Know Sports. Carolyn's been gone for a while. She was... Wait, you were in Chicago, not Canada. Usually you're going to foreign countries, but you were not in a foreign country.
I'm always just jet setting all over the place. The only foreign countries I've ever been to are Canada and Mexico.
Well, and, you go to this foreign country called Prospect about 1 p.m. every...
Watch it.
Sorry. I mean, there's like 5,000 houses up there. I think you're okay. Regardless, Carolyn's back in action, and... this is The Chick Who Doesn't Know Sports. I believe our first Chick Who Doesn't Know Sports of the month of August. Summer is flying by.
I don't even want to talk about it.
Your older boy is at high school orientation. This has to be a heart-wrenching moment for a mother.
I dropped him off yesterday. Also, his high school is across the street from his former preschool. And my heart went into my throat. And then I was fine. I held it together. And then there's a little parent orientation, and I went in there and saw... 3 moms that all of our kids were in kindergarten together, and I just about lost it. But I did not cry in public.
Well, that's good. I'm proud of you for not crying in public.
Thank you.
It's Ben. I don't know Ben well, but he does seem so young to be in high school. I've had a full beard when I was that age. I don't know. Maybe that's a me problem, not a him problem.
He's got a little mustache.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
He'd be so mad at me for saying that.
I remember my dad used to start shaving my mustache when I was like 10 years old. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, you're looking.
10? Jesus.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at my beard. Come on. I got, it's genetic. Regardless, Carol, you've been gone for a couple weeks. So a lot of things have happened since you've been gone, including the end of the Olympics and some exciting news here as well, which we're going to get to. But just take us through it. What's been going on? How's your trip to Chicago, first and foremost?
My trip was great. I was a little nervous because, the Cubs did their big, trade-off right before.
Yeah. They decimated their entire roster to the just complete despondence of their entire fan base.
Yeah, people were not happy. But once we got to the city, the Crosstown Classic was going on while we were there, which is the Cubs versus the Sox. And then, of course, the Cubs lost it all. I'm not sure what their plan was with this when they have really good players, but I don't know what I'm talking about. So maybe they have a great master plan.
Well, here's the thing is in some sports, there's salary caps. And so when your moment in time has passed and guys are starting to get a little bit older, and they're on big contracts, you get rid of them because then you try to reload with younger players because you have to fit into the scope of a salary cap. There's no salary cap in baseball. And you're the freaking Chicago Cubs. You play 81 games in Chicago that are going to, at Wrigley Field, you're going to sell out every single time. You're going to be on TV. You have all the money in the world. So there's no money concerns. So it was really dumb what they did. I don't know. I haven't heard any good justification because you could say, okay, Anthony Rizzo and Chris Bryant getting a little old. Javi Baez is one of the best shortstops in baseball. He's also only 27. He's also so marketable and fun to watch. It was dumb. Bad moves by the Cubs. So I fully feel for their fan base, and I fully understand why they're mad.
Yeah, I was going to buy some Cubs gear, and then I didn't out of protest.
That's good.
I'm just kidding. It was just really expensive on Michigan Avenue.
Oh,
but
of course.
Still, no, I mean, whatever. I'll be a Cubs fan forever, so it doesn't really matter. I didn't even know who they traded, to be honest.
Well, the Chi Sox are doing good.
I will never.
Why? Why can't you go to the South side?
I just can't.
I think that's so funny.
It's like you're either a Cubs fan or a Sox fan, and I was offered Sox tickets, and I said no. Let me just put it that way. I just couldn't do it.
Wow, even to watch one of the better teams in baseball. There's a kid from Missoula on the White Sox.
I don't care.
That's what I'm good. Good. Chick Who Doesn't Know Sports. Nuanez now. Our good friend Carolyn joining us in studio here. What else you got?
All right. Well, I need to get to the Olympics. I know I missed last week, and I know I am a little late, but I do have to talk about something that's really important.
Sure.
So during the Olympics and before the Olympics, there was a lot of talk about the female athletes' attire.
Yes.
The gymnastics, the German gymnastics team wore those full body unitards, and people were up in arms about the volleyball team and their little bikini bottoms and blah, blah, blah. Well, I don't think people really were paying attention to the men's track.
Okay. What was going on in men's track?
It was a real battle of the bulge. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my gosh, we're going to get in trouble today. Okay.
And by surprise, which this caught me by surprise, Norway won the gold medal, if you know what I'm saying.
Sure.
Not in running.
Okay. We're already getting in massive trouble here.
Why?
Okay,
I'm not
carry on. I
anything.
can't wait for the punchline.
I'm not going any further. I want everyone to use their imagination. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
I found it. I mean, I can't believe people weren't offended by that. That's all I'm saying.
I just think that everybody needs to stop being so offended. I think we should look at. Here's the thing that we need to return to. You can look at and admire the human body of either gender of human or any gender of human, all of the genders, the thems and the theys and everybody in between, without sexualizing it. One of the best parts of the Olympics is admiring the bodies of the athletes.
I agree.
Of all shapes and sizes. I look at the guys just as much as the girls. I think some of those shot put guys are some of the most crazy looking guys they've ever seen.
If you saw the memes about the canoe or I don't know, there was some guy, was it canoeing or something? I don't know. All these friends of mine were posting these like shots of this guy.
Sure.
And he had a lovely physique.
Well, right.
I am not offended by any of this. I am just saying if we are going to be offended by girls in tight shorts, maybe we should talk about the guys and the outline of their shorts. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, it's all good. I guess the point is that we've regressed from the point of embracing our instinctual nature. I mean, there's a reason why all the statues in Rome were of people that were naked or almost naked. I mean, admiring the human body is part of being human.
Yeah, I don't care. We
just need to get over the sexualization of it. Like, just because this girl or this man or whoever it is has a beautiful physique, it doesn't mean it has to be sexually connotated, regardless. Okay, Carol.
Did I offend you?
No, not at all.
I feel like I did.
No, I think everybody else just needs to be less offended. It drives me freaking crazy that the number one storyline out of the Olympics every day is this controversy, this offensive thing, Simone Biles' mental health, or this transgender weightlifter, or this lady who used to be pregnant, and blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, why can't we just watch them do sports? That's the whole point.
I do think there's something to be said about some of these female athletes who just gave birth.
How about the gal who ran in the 800 meters while pregnant? That is spectacular. That was amazing.
I was eating donuts and eating coffee cake and not running when I was pregnant.
Yes, no doubt. Chick Who Doesn't Know Sports, good friend Carolyn joining us here in studio on Nuanez now. Okay, what else you got?
So O.J. Simpson, have you heard?
This is actually funny that you bring this up. I was discussing with a friend the concept of why sometimes we gravitate towards watching things that we've watched a million times. And sometimes it's when we have anxiety or we, sort of stressed out about something. You just want to watch something. It's like, so many women watch Friends. They've seen Friends a million times. You know what's going to happen. You still just put it on because it's just something to have on. Grey's Anatomy, whatever. I don't know why. This probably says a lot about my psychology. Oh boy. But the thing I put on is OJ Made in America. And it was a rainy day on Sunday, and I was having a little bit of relaxation time, and I had gone to Wilco the night before. I was feeling a little tired, a little hungover. So I put on OJ Made in America and watched the first 3 episodes.
Anybody is this the one that was...
it's the Academy Award-winning documentary all about OJ Simpson.
Is it
his whole journey?
John Travolta was in... Oh, no.
That's The People versus OJ Simpson. That was like a sort of fictional show based on real events with actors playing those guys. Now, OJ Made in America was an Academy Award-winning documentary, 5-part doc series about OJ Simpson and his tale from Los Angeles to USC to the Buffalo Bills to the most famous spokesperson in America to then a murderer. And it overlays race in America better than any other documentary I've perhaps ever seen. I would actually suggest everybody watch it. I think it should be required watching in school because I think that's how profound the analysis of race in America is in the documentary, but regardless, funny. So what is OJ doing now?
Well, you just really brought me down because it was supposed to be funny. Okay. And now you're making it serious.
Okay, what's OJ doing now?
OJ Simpson said I think he moved back to L.A.
Okay, he's not in prison anymore?
No, he was in Florida for a while.
I can't keep up.
Anyway, he said he's really nervous going to restaurants in L.A. You know why?
Why?
Because he might be sitting next to the person who murdered
oh my God,
Nicole Brown Simpson.
This guy.
He is so delusional that he actually thinks people believe this.
Well, he's obviously so delusional.
Sure I
mean, we got to be careful here, but yeah, of course he's delusional. That's what this documentary is all about. How did OJ become so delusional? Well, he was put on this crazy pedestal. I mean, he was removed. man, it's just so fascinating because he's from the same era as so many of the most prominent black athletes that fought for so many different things. Muhammad Ali got his title stripped and went to jail, while O.J. Simpson's running through airports with doing Hertz commercials.
Those are great ads.
He didn't have to sacrifice anything like Jim Brown and these guys did, and that's why he's so crazy.
Well, I just hope he doesn't sit next to the person who murdered his ex-wife and Ron Goldman because, he'd probably slit their throats too.
Just don't sit next to a mirror, I guess, OJ, and you
That's
won't
what
sit
I
next
said.
to the mirror. God.
Anyway.
The day that he goes away is going to be, it's not a day too soon. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Okay, Carolyn, what else you got?
Dennis Schroeder.
Dennis Schroeder, yeah, very good.
So, Lakers.
Cool hair.
I thought you were talking to me. I was
No.
like, oh, thanks.
They have great hair too, but Dennis Schroeder has cool hair.
Was offered $84 million
He was indeed.
by the Lakers.
Yes, he was.
For 4 years.
Yep.
He turned it down to be a free agent.
Yep.
And just signed for 1 year with the Celtics for $5.3 million.
Yes.
Who is his manager, and will they be fired?
So this is a little bit more complicated. Dennis Schroeder wants to be the man or be among the men on a team. He has a very unique personality. He's German, and he's one of the best German players in the NBA. And he was an up-and-coming star for the Atlanta Hawks, and then was good for the Oklahoma City Thunder and pretty good for the Los Angeles Lakers. But then the Lakers traded for Russell Westbrook, meaning Dennis Schroeder was going to have a diminished role on the Lakers. But also, this was an offseason filled with point guard roulette. There was basically 11 point guards that were in the caliber of getting this 4-year, $84 million deal, which is like the second tier of what the contracts are available. And it was going to be a race to the finish. You knew as soon as Luka Doncic and Trae Young signed their rookie deals and then Reggie Jackson signed, then the spots were going to fill up and the money was going to be gone, and that's exactly what happened to Dennis Schroeder. So now it's an interesting deal because you're right. On the surface, it looks as if he made a bad move by not signing the $84 million contract, which hard to argue. But the 1 year, $5.9 million deal makes it so that he's basically betting on himself.
Yeah.
He's basically saying, I'm going to play this 1 year for the Celtics. I'm going to be the dude for the Celtics, and then I'm going to go get a max contract. It's a gigantic roll of the dice because he could break his ankle or not have a good year or whatever. But if it works out, it's going to be one of the great gambles ever because he'll be a $100 million player if he does it right.
Well, I'm rooting for him because I figured if you were willing to give up $84 million guaranteed to take a chance on yourself, even if you break an ankle and you don't get the $100 million contract, you have the values that you follow, and you want to really invest in yourself and prove that you are a $100 million player. So I just would not have advised my client to do that.
Sure.
Because that's 10% off my, commission, but that's just me.
The point guards, for those curious, this was the point guard roulette, and all these guys signed before Schroeder, kind of leaving him on the outside looking in. Chris Paul, Kyle Lowry, Lonzo Ball, Mike Conley, Spencer Dinwiddie, Devontae Graham, and Derrick Rose. Schroeder was the odd man out with after all those guys got their money. Schroeder with the Celtics is going to be interesting because his fit with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be good or not, so we'll see. But the guy with the multicolored hair playing in Boston is going to be a spectacle. They're not so used to the style that Dennis Schroeder brings, so that'll be a fascinating
Maybe he'll be like the new
well.
Dennis Rodman, except better.
Well, how do you be better than Dennis Rodman?
I don't know.
Dennis Rodman was the best at what he did in the history of the league. I would say he's the best villain and the best antagonist and the best rebounder.
That's true.
I love me some Dennis Rodman.
I know. I love Dennis Rodman.
All right. Chicken Doesn't Know Sports. Good friend Carolyn joining us here. Nuanez now, 102.9 ESPN Missoula. What else you got?
Well, I'm really excited because
I'm excited about this too.
Today, we have Sarah Colonna joining us. Her husband is John Ryan.
Yep, punter for the Seattle Seahawks most famously. He played for the Packers a couple years, then was with the Seahawks for a decade, and now currently plays for the Saskatchewan Roughriders of the Canadian Football League.
Well, and that's the most important part about John. Not only that he's, a lovely human and a great football player and married to one of my favorite comedians, but he's Canadian.
He's from Regina.
And we're basically related then. I mean, we're like brother and sister.
So I don't know if people know how this works, but the Canadian Football League has a roster rule where half the players on the roster have to be from Canada.
Oh,
so if you're a Canadian that then makes it to the NFL, you will almost always have a roster spot back in Canada. So he's sort of in the later years of his career. He's almost 40. But because of the roster limit, he'll be able to play in his hometown for a long time.
That's awesome.
It is cool.
So Sarah developed this. I'm going to let Sarah explain it.
Sure.
But
she's coming up here on the Chick Who Doesn't Know Sports here in just a quick minute. We're going to interview her, not live, but sort of live, here on Nuanez now.
Yeah. She developed these bags, handbags. So I'm a chick who doesn't know sports, but I am a chick who knows handbags. Right. And I do not want to carry a clear handbag into a football game.
You're also a chick that attends sports sometimes too.
Yeah. But, I don't want to have to deal with that. So she developed these really cool handbags called Clutch Women, and they are stadium compliant. And so we're going to talk to her about it, and she's going to give a few away and offer our listeners a special deal.
This is something you need in your life. Grizz football is right around the corner. Bobcat football right around the corner. And I don't get it. They're going to explain it to us. I don't know why you have to have the cute, fancy little clutch, but I do understand the functionality of it. I think that one of my buddies is trying to normalize the wearing of fanny packs for men. It's not cool, but God, he's always got his wallet, his keys, and his cell phone. I don't have any of that stuff.
I think we should talk to her about offering Clutch Men, and see what
I lose my cell phone every weekend.
Right,
I have no idea where it's at.
I think we should normalize Merces, man purses.
Hey, let's do it. Sarah Colonna coming up on the Chick Who Doesn't Know Sports. Well, happy now. A extension of one of your favorite segments, A Chick Who Doesn't Know Sports. We welcome into the show Sarah Colonna. She is a comedian, a very famous one, according to my good friend Carolyn, and also the husband of John Ryan, the wife. John Ryan would be the husband of John Ryan, the former punter for the Seattle Seahawks, currently the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Sarah, thanks so much for joining us. Welcome to Nuanez Now.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Sometimes I think that I could be considered the husband of the family, so don't worry about it.
Well, now that you're rolling in all that trash. So we wanted to have you on because with football season starting, and we're so excited to have the Grizz and the Cats playing again in the stadium. I wanted people to know about your Clutch Women bags, and I would love for you to tell the story about how you came up with it and all the details.
Yeah, well, it really started when I was going to a lot of Seahawks games when John was on the Seahawks, and I really disliked the clear bag policy, as I think a lot of people do. I get it, but I don't like it, and especially you're carrying your feminine products or your whatever. It's just not fun to have to just show everything off all over the stadium. And so I decided I know a bag designer, and I got together with her because with the clear bag policy, you can actually have a small clutch as long as it's 4x5 by 6x5. That's not clear. So we got together and designed clutches that fit that policy because it is a hard size to find. And, so if we make them specifically for that, then we know that that's the size that they asked for. And we started we went through a lot of things. We got, they're stain resistant, they're water resistant, because I was like, I'm standing in the rain at Seahawks games, people stand in the snow at games, people spill beer, things like that. So I wanted to make them as nice as possible and something that'll last, so that you don't always have to buy a new clutch every time you go to a game. So these are nice bags that will last and be stylish. And then we decided I wanted to do some sort of fun writing on the inside and a kind of a play on the word clutch. So on the inside, there's little words that remind you why you're a clutch woman, like you're strong, you're powerful, you're fearless, and just to put a nice kind of, fun thing with it and make them just really geared towards women that love sports and want to have something cute to carry. And now we're sort of in the times where that spills over into concerts, and even some comedy clubs I perform in are requiring these bags that size. So I've really found lately we started making colors with team colors, and the ones that we could find in the material since it's specific. And we still have those, and those do really well too. But right now, I've noticed a lot more of the solid black or the solid blue selling, because people realize that, okay, now I can also take these to concert events, and they also just go with really any gear. So, we have a good variety in that way of a few great team colors, and then also these solid black or blue for people that just want, to look good with their gear, and then also use it for other things.
Sarah Colonna joining us here on Nuanez now.
So, Sarah, I was noticing, you mentioned the colors, and I had told my friend whose daughter goes to Ole Miss about them, and she was checking them out, and she's already planning to order the blue and red. And then her son goes to University of Arizona, so it works for both kids' college, so she's super excited. I'm excited to take mine to Guns N' Roses on Friday. I mean, I don't want to brag, but Guns N' Roses will be in Missoula, and it's kind of a big deal. So I'm pretty pumped. So because that's going to be a rowdy crowd, and I feel like this purse is going to totally survive that night. So tell us where we can find them. And I know you were going to offer something to our listeners in terms of some giveaways and a promotional code. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so you can find them at clutchwomen.com. And as you said, there's, I've also found that some colors that we have for like the Green Bay Packers, all of a sudden that goes with Oakland Athletics, who also started having that this year, and different college teams. And so there's a lot of variety in the way people can use the different colors we already have for sure. Yes, a promo code for your listeners, Missoula 20, all caps, just the number 20. So MISSOULA and then 20 for 20% off any of them. And that will just be wide open for, I won't put an end date on it. So anytime you guys listen to this, you can go use that code and get 20% off.
Ladies, I know you're interested. Gentlemen, I know your ladies will be interested, so this could be a great gift for them. I have the question of the day, though. What do you guys keep in these things? Because I feel like every time I've ever gone to a game with my mom, she's got everything. Kleenex, snacks, chapstick, sunscreen, everything in the world fits in these little things. What's your go-tos on game day? What sort of stuff do you keep in there?
The basics, there's a little pocket for credit cards and cash, which is good. And then I do basically my phone, my chapstick, keys, sunglasses. I've been known to actually, I've stuff arm warmers in there. You'd be surprised what you can get in a small bag when that's all they'll let you carry in.
And Coulter, you don't understand, but sometimes women have to carry some things.
Sure.
And they don't want everyone to see it, if you know what I'm saying. So, just be cool.
Yeah. Those are always in there as well. Yeah. And that's, like I said, literally one of the reasons that inspired me to come up with something. And also, I want to carry something cute. I don't want to carry a Ziploc bag around. And note that these also can be worn on your crossbody, your shoulder, or on your waist. There's a little sleeve on the back of the purse, and you can pull the strap through it, and you can wear it on your waist as a modern fanny pack, if you will, so that you can go hands-free, which is also one of my favorite ways to wear it at a game.
Well, I got a couple buddies. This is their new thing. You take a nighttime flight to Vegas, and then you take the daytime one back the next day, so you don't ever actually sleep or stay the night, and all you bring is your fanny pack. So I got this brigade of men that go on planes with fanny packs. They're trying to normalize the fanny pack. So maybe you have a distinct male audience here, too, if you can turn this thing into a little fanny pack as well.
Hey, you know what? I say go for it. It can be used for anyone can use it, and rock those fanny packs to Vegas, guys. I got you.
I mean, I lose my wallet at least once a week, so this is actually a great idea. Sarah Colonna joining us. Missoula 20 is the code. Go check it out. Grizz open up their home portion of their season on September 11th, as do the Bobcats. I know there's going to be tens of thousands of people attending these events. Do yourself a favor, especially if you are not into the clear bag. Get yourself one of these awesome clutches because it'll serve you well for quite some time. Sarah, great idea, first and foremost, but also thanks so much for joining us. This has been fun, and we're happy to promote your product, but thanks so much for being with us here on ESPN Missoula.
Absolutely. I appreciate you guys having me. Thank you.
So there you go. Sarah Colonna. The code one more time, Missoula 20. You can go to clutchwomen.com. Ladies, this sounds ideal for your football game attending experience. Men, this sounds like an ideal present for your lady or your wife or daughter or sister or I don't know. I might buy these from every woman in my family. Spoiler alert, ladies. You might be, might already know what you're getting for Christmas, but sounds pretty darn slick for anybody that wants to attend football games and isn't so necessarily into the clear bag policy. Check out clutchwomen.com and enter the code Missoula20. Chick Who Doesn't Know Sports, our good friend Carolyn here on Nuanez Now. Appreciate her for swinging by and giving us her wardrobe analysis and everything else in between. Always funny and fun to catch up with Carolyn. Speaking of somebody that is funny, really actually without trying to be, I just find him so funny because he's so consistent in who he is. And somebody that's always fun catching up with, that's Bobby Houck, University of Montana head coach. He will join us here on Nuanez Now. Right after this, keep it right here on 102.9 ESPN Missoula. What's up, Montana? Colter Nuanez from Nuanez Now, your recently anointed Montana radio sportscaster of the year, checking in with you to tell you that at ESPN Missoula, we are thrilled to announce that we will now be broadcasting Nuanez Now from the Northwest Motorsport Studio. Northwest Motorsport is new to Missoula. Located at the corner of Mount and Stevens, Northwest Motorsport has the largest inventory of trucks in the Pacific Northwest. Be sure to tune in to Nuanez Now, live from the Northwest Motorsport Studio each weekday from 4 to 6 p.m. right here on 102.9 ESPN Missoula.
You've been waiting far too long to get back on the links. I mean, summer's here, so I think you should head on out to Canyon River Golf Club. Canyon River boasts a pristine 18-hole championship golf course set along the Clark Fork River in the beautiful mountain valley of East Missoula. The challenging course is meticulously manicured and in perfect shape. Now, Canyon River also has golf carts with the Shark experience. That's right, giving you laser-sharp GPS. It's the most beautiful time of the year in Montana, so get out and play at Canyon River Golf Club.
Blaine McElmurray knows what you can achieve through hard work as an athlete from a small town in Montana. The Troy native rose up to become an All-American safety for the Grizzlies on UM's 95 National Championship team before spending time playing in the NFL. McElmurray has also used those values in his work at McElmurray Homes. Since 2003, McElmurray Homes has helped contract and subcontract some of the Garden City's finest houses. McElmurray Homes is committed to offering quality custom service, quality products, and the best prices throughout any project. And McElmurray Homes is also a proud supporter of high school athletes around the state of Montana. Prime Rib Night is back at Paradise Falls. Every Wednesday, stop into Paradise Falls anytime after 4 p.m. to get a succulent cut of delicious prime rib as part of a hearty meal. For $16.95, you can get a 12-ounce hand-cut prime rib with au jus, horseradish, baby-baked potatoes, and a salad, but you better act quick because Paradise Falls will serve you this delight each Wednesday until it's gone. Paradise Falls, located at 3621 Brook Street in Missoula. Come enjoy prime rib in paradise every Wednesday at Paradise Falls.
The world of real estate is always evolving. That's more true now than ever. If you are a longtime Missoulian that is looking to upgrade or downsize, it might be the best time yet to sell. If you're in the position to buy something new, today might be the best time to buy. And no matter what questions you have when it comes to residential or commercial real estate, Mike Nugent and the professionals at Berkshire Hathaway in Missoula have your answers. To find out what Mike can do for you, give him a call today, 531-1802. And remember, every question is good to ask.
Nuanez Now on ESPN Radio.
Hey, it's producer Tommy from Nuanez Now. Did you know you don't even need a radio to listen to Nuanez Now? You can watch Nuanez Now all around the state of Montana on SWX television, channel 199 on Charter or 23.3 on terrestrial television. Plus, you can stream every minute of Nuanez Now live on YouTube. Tune into the stream on 1029ESPN.com or find ESPN Missoula on the TuneIn Radio app. 4 to 6 weekdays on 1029 ESPN Radio.
What up, Montana? Hope you're having an outstanding Thursday. Thanks so much for spending some time with us. All sorts of guests on the show today. This is a wide swath that we are covering here on Nuanez Now. We've talked everything from Bobcat football to the Celtic Games to men's amateur golf around the state of Montana to the Battle of the Bulge and And also talked about some handbags, specifically from Sarah Colonna of Clutch Women. She has designed a handbag perfect for your football stadium experience. And on that note, just heard from Sarah via Carolyn, and she liked being on ESPN Radio so much, she enjoyed it so much, that she wants to give you one of these clutches. These clutches they're awesome. They're really nice. They're really fashionable. They're stylish. I think that any lady out there would really enjoy them. And a man, too. I mean, if you want one, men, go right ahead. You can keep it for yourself, give it to your girl, do whatever you want with it. But she wants to give one away. So, one lucky winner right now, this is easy. 406-888-1029. That's 888-1029. You want a clutch that is perfect for your game day experience, valued at retail over $100. You want one of these, I promise. Caller number 2, 888-1029. That's 888-1029. Give us a call right now, and we will get you a Clutch Women's purse, or I guess a Clutch Women's clutch, as it were, of your desired choice. Speaking of football, the University of Montana opens up their season September 4th in Seattle against the University of Washington. Huskies should be pretty darn good this year. They came in at number 21 in the preseason poll. I know that's not quite where they were the last time the Grizzlies played them, but the last time the Grizzlies played in Seattle, you're talking about a team that had Jake Browning at quarterback, who was one of the better quarterbacks in all of college football. Dante Pettis, the all-time leading punt returner in the history of college football, more punt return touchdowns than anyone in Division I history, and the guy that went on to the NFL. He's also a receiver on that team. You had guys like Vita Vea and Greg Jenkins, Buda Baker on the defense. Will Dissly, Montana's finest, who's now a tight end for the Seattle Seahawks out of Bozeman, was on that UW team. That team was stacked. This UW team, not quite that level, but they're still going to be pretty dang good. They will have some NFL guys, so a tall task awaits Montana in Seattle on September 4th. But between now and then, I know this is one of Bobby Hauck's favorite times of the year. Coach Hauck loves the developmental nature of this time of year. I think that for Bobby Hauck's system to work to its maximum efficiency, guys knowing the demands, the expectations, but also knowing how to practice. It sounds so simple, but just knowing how to practice is a big deal. And because you can get so much more work done if everybody knows what they're expected to do each and every day. That's what I see when I watch Montana right now. I think that that's what you can see in Bobby Hauck. He's got a little pep in his step. He has not been doing his jogs from the Adams Center to Dorn Blizzard. He's been walking, biking sometimes, but he said his knee has been bugging him. I'm sorry, Bobby, if I'm telling people too much about your knee, but I always thought it was great that he would jog to and from practice as a sort of act of solidarity with his players. They ride the bus to and from practice, and Bobby would always get his daily run in, so I always thought that was cool, but hasn't been doing as much this year. But regardless, Bobby has a little bit of confidence about him, a lot of confidence about him, I will say, about this team. I think that Coach Hauck knows what he's got in his hands. I think he and his staff have done a tremendous job of rebuilding the roster, filling in the holes. Now I don't think they have any holes. And you talk about a team that's on the same page, ready to get better every day, efficient in the way that they prepare and practice, and is led by a coaching staff with more than 260 years of cumulative coaching experience. It's a pretty good formula. So I expect Montana, if they can continue this momentum and continue to improve, to be very, very good this fall. And I think that everybody internally agrees. A couple themes from this conversation today. And by the way, we will be having Bobby Hauck join us at least once a week throughout the fall, and maybe even more. This time of year, I'm going to try to get him every day I can, just because he does pre-practice interviews at 2:30, and I can swing that. I can get down there, so we'll try to bring you Bobby Hauck as much as we can during the month of August, but stay tuned. We will have a weekly segment with Coach Hauck throughout the football season, and we have a new sponsor for that, which I will they're not doing their rebranding and their rollout until September 1 either. So we'll keep that one under our hats for just a moment, but excited to have another great local supporter, great local business here in Missoula, tied here to us at Nuanez now. But Coach Hauck, these interviews, I usually try to get my questions in at the beginning, but then there's also a couple other reporters usually there. And so today, this is interviews actually from yesterday afternoon, but it was myself and Frank Gogol of the Missoulian. So Frank's doing a great job covering the Grizz beat, the Missoulian. He's an awesome sports writer. He's efficient. He is He's a wordsmith, man. He's doing a good job. I read the paper all the time still, and Frank's doing a great job. But his main theme for the day, FBS transfers, guys that join the program, particularly along the line. Montana does have a fair amount of transfers on its offensive line. Cordell Pilans, Moses Mallory, both junior college guys. You got Dylan Cook, who was a transfer up basically from Montana State Northern, where he was actually playing quarterback. He's a Butte native. Then you got Hunter Magnus, the transfer from Washington State, the newest guy to the fold on the offensive line. But Montana's defensive line has some transfers on it as well. Justin Belknap from Arizona, a graduate transfer, and then Joe Babros, who's been in the program for a couple years now, but he was an NC State transfer once upon a time. But Frank was basically digging for, and then they have De'Ari Todd coming over from Michigan State, who's new to the team as of this fall camp. But Frank clearly doing a story on the FBS transfers. So you look forward to that. But I was also talking with Coach Houck just about putting the pads on, evaluating with and without pads, and about some of the young guys and young position groups on this Grizz football team. Here's Bobby Houck, head coach for the Montana Grizzlies from yesterday. That's Wednesday, August 11th. Well, Coach, when I first walked in, just exchanged some hellos with Justin Green. He said, hey, here's the day that we start to find out about some of these guys with the pads on. So what sort of expectations do you have when people do put the pads on? What sort of differences do you hope to see?
Yeah, at certain positions, it's hard to practice and get much out of non-padded work, even though I think our guys do a pretty good job of it. So we expect it to be physical when we got the pads on, and I'm sure it'll be a good day.
Line play, is it easier to evaluate? Is that a specific group where offensive, defensive line, that exchange is just easier when they have pads on?
Yeah, I think it's hardest on the offensive linemen of all the position groups, then the running backs and the linebackers. So it'll be a good day for the O-line to get going.
Speaking of running backs, I know Marcus Knight's injury leaves an opening there, but it seems like you got a lot of bodies there. So how would you evaluate that group, and what have you thought of some of the guys sort of embracing an elevated opportunity?
Yeah, kind of what I mentioned just a second ago is it's hard to evaluate those guys non-padded. So we'll watch them today and see how we do.
Is anything surprising?
I think they've been assignment-wise, they've been good so far.
It seems like assignment-wise, everything looks pretty darn sharp and good. But what has your impressions been just overall these first couple days? Well,
I'll reiterate what you said. Our assignment-wise, we've been good. Effort level, speed of play have been good, and it's fun to coach a team that knows how to practice.
Talking to Robbie the other day, he's very excited about the cornerbacks, and that was a group that sort of flashed to me. So I know you put a priority on it, but what do you like about the additions you've made to that group, and maybe some of the progress some of the guys that had been in that group have made as well?
Well, they're guys that are natural corners for the most part. They have pretty good frames, most of them. They're long-armed, have good speed, and to a man, they're pretty willing tacklers, so that's a good thing.
How much of a priority did you guys want to put on that, and how much can it change your defense? I mean, do you expect the defense to change given the fact that you do have guys that can play more man-to-man, be out on an island a little bit more?
We were pretty stubborn with just doing that regardless. So we won't change a bunch, but better play at any position is going to make you better, and I'm hoping that we can be consistent out of corner.
You talked about some of the FBS transfers yesterday, but De'Ari Todd on the defensive line for Michigan State. What did you guys like about him that you wanted to bring him in?
He's big. He's got good athletic ability. And he's a good kid.
And when you go about deciding to bring in FBS transfers, what are the biggest considerations with that?
They've got good film, and they're good guys.
And when you bring those type of guys in from the FBS level, how much of them being contributors right away factors into the decision, or is something you expect out of them?
Probably depends how old they are, If they're freshmen, hopefully they aren't going to contribute much, just like our freshmen, or else we need to recruit better. But if they're an older guy, it's no different than junior college. I mean, any transfer of any sort, you bring in because you hope they can contribute. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
Has your theories on bringing in transfers changed much over the years?
Yeah, it has. I think with the way of the world in college football, and with the NCAA has mandated that one-time transfer is legal, I think everybody's in that world. I mean, there are schools that recruited. There are Division I schools that recruited no high school players this year.
Is that a good or bad thing for the state of college football?
I think it's horrible.
I think so too.
Are there specific positions that are easiest for a player to specific position for a player to transfer in and be able to make an impact right away?
You mean just across the board in football?
Is it like, say, running back versus O-line or D-line?
No, I think it's all based on depth, and that's why you bring guys in. I don't think any position's easier one way or the other. I do think that there are certain positions where it's easier for young guys to play, but that's not the question.
Speaking of a young guy who's not actually that young, Cole Grossman has sort of a unique roster situation, being that he got to gray shirt, red shirt, COVID shirt. He's really flashed early. So what do you like about his talents?
Well, we've been in no pads for 2 days, but Cole's done a good job. He's a hard worker. He's a good athlete, and he's done some good things. Today's his day. We got pads on.
That tight end group overall, yeah. What do you hope they bring this camp, or how much progress do you think they need to make before the opener?
Well, it's probably one of our younger groups, but they've got ability. I think from Cole, as you mentioned, through that group, we've got more ability athletically than we've had by a large margin. So we're hoping that shows up, and then the physical maturity's got to come.
As you've been building the offensive line over the past couple of years, what are the considerations between bringing in transfers versus spending time developing guys to start?
Offensive line specifically?
Yeah.
Well, offensive linemen, as I mentioned yesterday, are hard to find. So if you can get one, you better get him. Doesn't matter how old he is. They aren't just walking around. You can't pluck them off the street. They're not around.
Where have you seen the biggest growth in the O-line since you came back here?
Well, numbers. I think when we started our first game, we had 3 true O-linemen. So that's we've got numbers there. I think our stature and our strength has grown, specifically the last 10 months. And we're just more mature, and we've got more guys in that room.
Chad Germer has been a guy that you've worked with a lot over your career. So what gives you the trust you have in Chad, and what do you think of the job he's done sort of helping rebuild that unit?
Yeah, Chad's a great coach and veteran. He's he's just a very detailed technician, and he's going to demand technique. It's a technique position, and he just does a great job with those guys, reinforcing their technique to them on a daily basis, and they have a great understanding where their feet and hands and what the play is trying to do.
So you go, Bobby Houck, University of Montana head football coach, here on Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Missoula, as well as SWX Montana Television. One more break to get to, then we're going to tell you a little bit more about the local TV schedule throughout the Big Sky Conference, particularly when it comes to Grizz and Bobcat football games on TV, especially with our great partners at ABC Fox Montana and SWX Montana Television. More on how to watch the Grizz and the Bobcats this year on television after this. Keep it right here, 102.9 ESPN Missoula.
Well, back to normal, I guess? Well, I don't know about that, but I do know that at Selway Armory, the team of firearms experts continue to take great pride in offering the best customer service, the best prices, and the best selection of guns in Montana. Yep, things really do stay the same at Selway Armory. If you're frustrated and can't find the gun or certain ammo you'd like, well, swing by Selway, or you can visit them online at selwayarmory.com. They've got the most extensive inventory you'll find anywhere in Montana or the surrounding region. 2825 Stockyard Road, Unit E6 in Missoula.
Hey Missoula, this is Glenn from Starbuds. I would like to invite everyone to come celebrate our grand opening this Saturday, August 14th at our newest location in St. Regis, Montana. We are offering 20% discounts all day and will be giving away free barbecue starting at noon until we run out. Stop in and check out all the high quality products we offer along with our gift shop featuring some local artists. Hope to see you all in St. Regis this Saturday at Starbuds, where our business is growing and growing is our business.
What do Missoulians do best? They support their local stores. Come support your local pharmacy at Palmer's Drug. Palmer's Drug is a retail and compounding pharmacy that is the alternative to big box chain pharmacies. You can expect short wait times, free medication shipping, and friendly service at Palmer's Drug. Located at 918 Southwest Higgins in Missoula, Palmer's Drug is the most convenient way to get your prescriptions in the Garden City. Come in and discover how they can serve your pharmacy needs.
Blaine McElmurray knows what you can achieve through hard work as an athlete from a small town in Montana. The Troy native rose up to become an All-American safety for the Grizzlies on UM's 95 National Championship team before spending time playing in the NFL. McElmurray has also used those values in his work at McElmurray Homes. Since 2003, McElmurray Homes has helped contract and subcontract some of the Garden City's finest houses. McElmurray Homes is committed to offering quality custom service, quality products, and the best prices throughout any project. And McElmurray Homes is also a proud supporter of high school athletes around the state of Montana. Although it might sound daunting, getting your wisdom teeth out is just a part of life. No matter when you might need your wisdom teeth extracted, Dr. Gene Morris at Oral Surgical Associates in Missoula is the man you need to see. Dr. Morris has extensive experience and a reputation as a surgeon who's both gentle and detailed, and will make your wisdom teeth extraction process seem like a breeze. When you need your wisdom teeth removed, put your trust in Dr. Gene Morris at Oral Surgical Associates of Missoula.
The mortgage lenders at Farmer State Bank remind you that because of market conditions, your home could be worth more than ever. Take advantage of the added equity in your home to take on that home remodel or repair project at today's low interest rates. Want to explore your options? Visit farmersebank.com to learn more. Then start the application process online for a locally approved home equity loan. Farmer State Bank, an equal housing lender and member FDIC.
This is Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Radio Missoula.
Happy Thursday, everybody. Hope you're having an outstanding evening. Thanks so much for spending some time with us. It's Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Missoula. Maybe you're watching SWX Montana Television. Maybe you're on the YouTube. Head on over, subscribe to our YouTube. We're going to be giving you some sweet prizes over there throughout the fall. So go over there. It's a good place to be. It's a great platform to stream this show on as well. You also find everything on our station website, including our podcast. You missed anything in the show? What a variety of guests that we had on the show today. We heard from Freddie Banks, Montana State defensive coordinator, talking about the scheme change for the Bobcats. We also heard from Garrett Middleton from the Bitterroot Celtic Games and Gathering at the Daily Mansion next weekend. A great event with all sorts of cool and unorthodox Scottish-style old-school sports for you to watch. And also some food and some drinks and some Irish dancing and some bagpipes and a whole bunch of other awesome things for you and your family. We also heard from Joey Lovell, recent winner of the Montana State Men's Amateur Golf Tournament here in Missoula at Canyon River. 19 under over 3 days. Impressive. 66, 65, 66 to take down Joey Moore, who's of Billings, but currently golfs at San Diego State. So an impressive victory by Joey Lovell. Caught up with him about that to wrap up hour number one. Hour number two, our good friend Carolyn swung by, and she brought her good friend, Sarah Colonna. Sarah, the founder of Clutch Women, which is a clutch company designing clutches for women to go to sporting events, specifically football games. And we gave one away. We're going to give a couple more away throughout the rest of the week and into the football season. So stay tuned for that. But appreciate Carolyn bringing Sarah along for the ride. And then we heard from Bobby Houck, Montana head football coach. You missed anything in today's show, it's available on the podcast. Nuanez will get you there. It's available on all your podcast hosting platforms. Please go check it out, rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff. 5 stars preferred. Podcast is proudly presented by Blackfoot Communications, the Wingate by Wyndham Hotel, and Sportsbet Montana. Can hardly wait for some Guns N' Roses. Axl Rose. I mean, November Rain was one of the first music videos I ever watched in my life. Welcome to the Jungle remains one of my favorite pre-football game songs. I mean, we heard it throughout my whole life at Washington Grizzly Stadium when I was a kid. And now I get to see Guns N' Roses live at Washington Grizzly Stadium. Got some intel. I know a guy who was at the show in Fargo, North Dakota, that is, last night. And he said, PSA to all Grizz football fans and those around Missoula and all of Montana. If you want to have an unbelievable time, go to Guns N' Roses tomorrow at Washington Grizz. Axl and Slash were off the charts good last night in Fargo! ! So expecting a raucous and fun evening tomorrow. If you're heading down to the show, come hang out with us. 2 to 6 p.m. We'll be at the Chamber of Commerce parking lot. 105.9 Jack FM. We'll be doing a remote broadcast from down there starting at 2. And then I'll be live with my good buddy, my main man, Rajim Seabrook, from 4 to 6. Nuanez now coming to you live from the Chamber of Commerce parking lot tomorrow. So be sure to come hang out with us. Can't wait to preview the Guns N' Roses show. We got a pair of Guns N' Roses tickets to give away for Jack FM and ESPN combined. So please come on down, hang out with us, and come on, say hi, because I can't wait for this show. And if you're going, I want to see you. And if you want to go, maybe you have an opportunity to win. So swing on down to the Chamber of Commerce parking lot tomorrow. Come hang out with us. Nuanez now live from the pre-show, Guns N' Roses. Can't wait for that show. Been a long time coming. Been to concerts each of the last 2 Fridays. This will make it 3 in a row. So happy that we're back in order. Tomorrow, Rajim will be with us. We'll also share some more sound from Bobby Houck. Also going to talk some NFL division by division. And, of course, probably talk a little bit of fantasy football as well, because those things are coming up. I got 2 drafts on the horizon, so very much looking forward to that as well. We'll be back at it. Guns N' Roses pre-show, Nuanez now, 4 p.m. tomorrow. In the meantime, you have yourself a tremendous evening, and be good.
I spend a lot of time in the garage, but even more time in the rain, sleet, and mud. In 95, I helped tow your moving trailer. In 05, I helped you get out of a ditch. Yeah, I know I'm a bit rusty, and sadly in 09, it was sparks from me, your handy chains, dragging behind your truck that accidentally started a wildfire.
Sparks from dragging chains can start a wildfire. Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Do you want to take your golf game to the next level? To be the best you can be on the links, knowing the course is essential. At Canyon River Golf Course, they have a brand new fleet of golf carts complete with the Shark Experience, a state-of-the-art GPS system that offers precise distance-to-pin measurements, hole flyovers, pro tips, and more. In addition, music and entertainment choices provide any golfer with all you need to thrive at Canyon River. Located in East Missoula, Canyon River offers a championship golf experience set on a beautiful, immaculately curated course. For more information, visit CanyonRiverGolfClub.com today.
Well, back to normal, I guess. Well, I don't know about that, but I do know that at Selway Armory, the team of firearms experts continue to take great pride in offering the best customer service, the best prices, and the best selection of guns in Montana. Yep, things really do stay the same at Selway Armory. If you're frustrated and can't find the gun or certain ammo you'd like, well, swing by Selway, or you can visit them online at selwayarmory.com. They've got the most extensive inventory you'll find anywhere in Montana or the surrounding region. 2825 Stockyard Road, Unit E6 in Missoula.
Hey, it's Colter Nuanez from Nuanez. Now I'm here with Brent Wahlberg of the Wahlberg team at Windermere Real Estate. And Brent, you guys have been the official realtors of Grizz Athletics for quite some time. What most do you like about supporting the Grizz in Missoula?
Born and raised here in Missoula. I grew up 2 blocks off campus. A lot of us Montana kids were growing up on weekends in the fall. You're out in the woods hunting. I was sitting in Dorm Blazer and then Washington Grizzly Stadium watching the Grizz. I grew up with Grizz in my blood. It's just a wonderful part of our community and happy to be a part of it.
Give the Wahlberg team a call today, 529-4663.
Warm days are here and you're craving something light. Stop into the Montana Club for the limited time honey mustard glazed Alaskan king salmon served in our crisp homemade potato cake. Or savor crisp garden salads, juicy burgers, or custom grilled Montana Club Cattle Company Angus steaks. Cool off with the perfectly mixed cocktail during the club's BOGO happy hour with $5 apps from 3 to 5:30 daily. Visit your Montana Club today on Brooks and North Reserve, Missoula.
ESPN Radio for Western Montana, KKVU HD3 Stevensville, and 102.9 FM on K275BS Missoula.
Fields entering the field of play in Iowa, and they've done it in front of about 8,000 fans. Sold out. The Yankees and White Sox playing at the site of the Field of Dreams movie in Iowa, a real Major League game. White Sox home team, and right now Chicago with a 1-0 lead. Jose Abreu drilling a line drive over the fence into the cornfield in left for a solo homer. A beautiful scene, nostalgia and excitement. And if you don't believe me, here's Clinton Yates of the Undefeated, who's been there for a while, speaking on Shanae Golick Jr. earlier here on ESPN Radio.
So they've got all the sort of decked out barn, kind of farm motif. You know, it's creative, if nothing else. And I just feel like for Iowa, I know I've been here all week. The Iowa State, not all week, I've been here all day. The Iowa State Fair is also starting today. The whole week has been very exciting for this community in a lot of different ways.
That's Clinton Yates, and you can catch the rest of this game on ESPN Radio and, of course, the ESPN app. Earlier, Tampa Bay knocked off Boston 8-1. Mets sweep a doubleheader at home over Washington 4-1 and 5-4. Phillies knock off the Dodgers 2-1. Oakland and Milwaukee each with 17 runs in wins over Cleveland and the Cubs. NFL preseason underway. Washington and New England scoreless. Philadelphia's got a 3-0 first quarter lead on the Steelers. There'll be no spectators at qualifying for the U.S. Open, but the U.S. Tennis Association says at this point fans are still welcome when the main draw begins at the Tennis Center. The tournament begins August 30th.
We're back on Friday and getting you ready for a full week of preseason action. We'll tell you the biggest things we're watching on your team this weekend. Keyshawn, Jay, Will, and Zubin, Friday morning on ESPN Radio.
.9 ESPN Radio in Missoula, your exclusive home for the bowl season, the college football playoff, the NBA Finals, and the World Series.
Welcome back to another episode of the Adam Schefter Podcast. We are officially 1 month away from the start of the regular season. As we tape this, we are getting close to fantasy football season. And with that in mind, we brought on two fantasy experts in two different fields to provide some special, unique insight into some of the players you should and shouldn't be drafting in this year's fantasy drafts. And we start off with one of the players who many will consider, and we get his input and advice on whether or not to draft him. The Chargers' great young running back, Austin Eckler, an underdog story from Western Colorado, who's now a big-time player and the player that Bleacher Report proclaims as the potential 2021 breakout fantasy star. We'll see what Eckler thinks of that and where he would draft himself this year. And then we'll bring on ESPN's fantasy football expert, Matthew Berry, to break down the sleepers in this year's draft and the players that he tells his friends and family to go get in their particular fantasy football draft. So lots of fantasy information coming your way in this podcast, as there will be throughout the course of this month. With everybody's fantasy drafts coming up, we want to bring you some guests that can help you win your fantasy football leagues this year. Of course, there was some real football news this week, none bigger than the fact that the Buffalo Bills signed quarterback Josh Allen to a 6-year, $258 million contract that included $150 million of guaranteed money, the largest guarantee ever given to an NFL player. Now, here's the interesting part of that particular situation, and it shows you how sometimes reporters can walk on the high wire of life with everybody waiting to see whether they trip up. The truth of the matter is the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen broke off contract talks about a week or so before the deal got done. They agreed that they would not be revisiting this deal until after the season. Talks were dead, done. And so as a reporter, you can say Josh Allen is not expected to sign a contract extension this season. And at that time, it would have been right. But sometime, a short time later, about a week after the fact, talks started back in again. I think the Buffalo Bills were smart enough to recognize that the cap is going to go up. Josh Allen's price is going to go up. And if we could get him locked in for 6 years, why not do that? And though it will cost us a lot now, we potentially have the chance to save later. And so Buffalo restarted contract talks late last week. And sometime between Thursday night and early Friday morning,